Hey everyone! In this video, we're going to look at some techniques for questioning and responding to students, challenging students to think more critically. But first, here's a joke for you. What do you get if you stand between two llamas? Laminated. Questions asked strategically of students by teachers have been at the heart of teaching for about as long as there have been teachers and students. Effective questions tend to come in groups that make the whole greater than the sum of the parts. And questioning is the art of sequencing those questions in groups. Good questioning builds solid mastery of even complex ideas by uncovering and explicating each component piece of a concept in progression. So you break things down to their easiest form and build them back up to their original. For example, I could not ask my first-year English learners to describe their dream meal. It's just too difficult for them. However, if I broke this question down into its component parts, my students could pretty easily manage it. For example, I could ask, "What food do you like?" or "What's your favorite food?" Then I could ask, "Where do you like to eat this food? Do you like to eat in your home or in a restaurant? Or perhaps a picnic?" Next I would say, "When do you like to eat this food? Do you enjoy it for breakfast, lunch, dinner? On the weekdays or the weekends, in the summer or the winter?" And finally, I could ask them, "With whom do you like to eat? Your friends, family, or alone?" By the end of this sequence, the students will have been able to answer that most difficult question we started with. What is their dream meal? Assembling questioning sequences is like building steps. If each step yields a steady and manageable rise, and the organizing structure is sound, the staircase can lead students up any height. Now, the building process is essentially the same, whether there are 3 steps or 300. A bigger goal means not bigger steps, but more of the same, steady, manageable steps. By climbing these steps day after day, students get good at climbing, good at systematically developing and breaking down ideas, so that soon they rise without watching their feet or counting their steps as they move. As you can see, the idea behind questioning is generally a constant, to move from simple to more complex. However, there are at least 5 distinct purposes in effective classroom questioning. The first is to guide students toward understanding when introducing material. The purpose is to methodically build knowledge and mastery of a pre-planned skill or concept, often by building gradually on a simpler idea, and more importantly, anticipating the places students will be confused. I really like to use this technique when I'm doing storytelling with my students. Before I read the text on a page, I'll usually display the picture from that page. I use picture books with my students, they're quite young. And I'll ask the students, what can they see? What actions do they see? What colors do they see? How many characters are there? Who is the important character? What do you think the characters' names are? Where are they? What time of day is it? What are they doing? Why are they doing that? And this builds a solid foundation of general understanding that makes my instruction of the story far easier. The second purpose is to push students to do a greater share of the thinking. This form of questioning is likely to be done during the guided practice portions of your class. In my classroom, when I introduce a new vocabulary word, I'll often start by drawing a picture on the board. I won't write the word on the board, I won't write the spelling on the board, I won't translate it or write the part of speech. What I will do is have my students give me all of that information. I might ask them, what is this? What letter does it begin with? What letter does it end with? How many letters are in the word? How do you spell the word? What does this word mean in Korean? Please make a sentence using this word. The third purpose is to remediate an error. The teacher responds to a wrong answer by breaking the original concept down into smaller component parts and adding insight through more questions to build toward mastery of the original concept. Now, these tend to be shorter, reactive questioning sequences. A really good example of this happened in my classroom today. I asked one of my students, "What is the robot holding in the picture?" They responded by saying, "Yes." Well, a bell rang in my head and told me they don't understand the question. So, I was holding my tablet and my pen. I told the students, Brian teacher is holding a pen in his right hand and a tablet in his left hand. You are holding a notebook in your left hand and a pencil in your right hand. What is Moby holding? Moby is the name of the robot. What is Moby the robot holding? At which point the student was able to correctly respond. The fourth purpose is to stretch students. The teacher responds to a student who has appeared to demonstrate mastery of a concept by pushing him or her to apply the concept at the next higher skill level, or in a new setting, often to test for reliability of the correct answer. Here's an example from my classroom. When I was teaching my students how to make more complex sentences, I couldn't just tell them to tell me the who, the what, the where, the when, the why, the how, and the which. It would be much too difficult. So we started to use a 3-star system, where good was represented by 1 star. For example, do you like ice cream? Yes, I do. That would be a good answer. 2 stars represents a better answer. Do you like ice cream? Yes, I do. I like chocolate ice cream. And 3 stars represents the best answer they could possibly give. Do you like ice cream? Yes, I do. I like soft ice cream in a cone from Baskin-Robbins. And finally, to check for understanding. The teacher uses questioning to test for mastery, sampling a strategic array of students to discern how much of what she's taught students have learned. In my classroom, I like to use this sequencing when I'm giving instruction for activities or games, especially games, because from time to time students get a little eager, a little too excited to play, and can sometimes gloss over many of the most important rules. So instead of asking students, do you understand? Are you ready to play? Which most students will just agree and say yes, I'll ask them for specific details of the instructions I have given. I might ask, what happens if your dice roll off the table? How many spaces can you go if you win rock, paper, scissors with a rock, with a paper, with a scissor? What happens if you play rock, paper, scissors with the teacher and you lose? That's right, you have to go back to the start. Questioning is a complex and multifaceted skill, and the line of questioning that you choose can pursue more than one of these purposes at a time. A teacher might seek to both stretch their students and check for understanding at the same time. Maybe by asking a student who answered correctly to explain the solution process. There was a lot of information to unpack in this video, and many of the most critical elements of questioning are covered in other videos that I have made. So please, go back and have a look at some of the others. You might want to look at stretch it, ratio, break it down, and check for understanding. And as always, feel free to message me or comment with any questions you might have about how I use these techniques in my class. Cheers, and good luck.